Welcome to Dick Morris Democracy. I'm Dick Morris. Here's the ultimate nightmare. President Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. President AOC. Could happen. She'll turn 35, the age specified in the Constitution to be president, 3 months before she would take office in 2024. Happy birthday. And the politics of that year are unfolding in such a way that I believe there's a real chance that AOC will run and could even be nominated. The Democrats are desperate, and they want to dump Biden, who'll be 81 in 24. They're losing the Hispanic vote more each day. The latest polls have Trump beating Biden among Latinos, actually winning Latinos. So the Democrats in desperation may turn to a young, female, charismatic Latina like AOC. Thank God I don't think she could be elected. I think Trump will beat her to a pulp. But don't count AOC out. She could well be the Democratic nominee. I explain how and why in my new book, The Return, Donald Trump's big 2024 comeback. But first, we have a chance to do the country a great big favor and take her out this year when she has to be reelected to Congress. She faces a tough fight against a strong, canny, shrewd, and articulate Republican opponent, Tina Forte, who's my guest on the show today. But before we get to Tina, let's talk a bit about AOC. I don't think there's ever been a congressman who is more anti-American than AOC. When you argue with her about policy, it's almost useless, because she disagrees about the fundamental goal. She wants to tear America down, not build us up. She despises what we stand for. She says we're racist and that our national success is entirely based on exploiting people of color. She'll use any issue, exploit any prejudice, tap into any source of anger or frustration to make a fundamental demagogic point that America is evil and deserves to lose. We're already suffering from AOC's policies. It was AOC, more than anyone else, to cause high gas prices. It was she who first called for a Green New Deal, junking fossil fuels. But she forgot that our cars still run on gasoline. Because of her demands, we canceled pipelines, stopped drilling offshore, stopped fracking, closed refineries. And all that led directly to the sky-high gas prices we're paying at the pump. Based on shaky scientific assumptions, she warned that unless we abandon fossil fuels, our planet will die. She demands that we instantly switch to renewable sources. So what if they weren't there yet and the technology isn't in place? Ready or not, AOC says, here we come. So what if it drives up gas prices and makes driving almost unaffordable? That's her goal. Force us all into mass transit and change the way we live. But it goes well beyond just energy. Millions of Venezuelans are fleeing the country because of the leftist policies of Hugo Chavez and the current dictator Nicolas Maduro. But AOC won't denounce him. In fact, she admires his program and wants to bring it to the U.S. With Russia invading Ukraine, we need to strengthen our military, but AOC won't have it. We believe in Martin Luther King's goal of racial integration, but AOC wants segregation and anti-white racism. She votes for federal programs only available to people of color. Whites can't even apply. She would turn our schools into centers for indoctrination and COVID inoculation, whether or not parents approved. AOC backs no cash bail, just turn them loose. No mandatory sentences, revolving door, defund the police, you're on your own. You know, half of her district is in the Bronx and half in Queens. But she acts like it was half in Hollywood and the other half in San Francisco. She doesn't live anywhere near her district. She maintains her residence there as a legal fiction, but she spends her time in a swank high-rise condo in D.C. When you mention the district to her, she's thinking of the District of Columbia, not the district in the Bronx and Queens. Tina Forte, the Republican running against AOC, is as homegrown as they come. A feisty conservative. She's the Bronx version of Sarah Palin. A hardcore conservative Republican. She'd be a total change from AOC. She's pro-life, pro-cops, pro-guns, and most importantly, pro-American. But can Tina win? Normally, no. But there's an earthquake going on. The tectonic plates are shifting under our feet. The Hispanic vote is changing, shifting to the Republicans, away from the Democrats. They're dropping out of Jesse Jackson's Rainbow Coalition. They apparently never found the pot of gold that's supposed to be at the end. In 2020, Trump got 38% of the Latino vote. Now polls put him at 50%. It's one of the biggest changes in political history. Why the change? Because people like AOC keep knocking our country. The land of freedom and opportunity they came to, often after crossing the ocean in a raft. They know that America is the last stop on their search for a better life, and they are not about to watch AOC and her ilk turn us into the new Cuba or the new Venezuela or the new Nicaragua. AOC's anti-American diatribes are the wrong speech at the wrong time. She's attacking left, while her constituents attacking right. The odds makers say Tina can't win, but they're wrong. They don't see the fundamental change in the Hispanic vote coming. They didn't think that Mayor Flores could win the congressional seat in the Rio Grande Valley, a seat that's never had one Republican in its history. But Mayor won, and Tina will too. So even if you don't live in the Bronx or Queens, you do live in America. Let's defeat AOC while we still can, before she spreads her anti-American poison throughout the country. Help Tina get elected.